Funny Sex Show, and I'm Tiara, NY.
I'm Lola Bastinado.
And I am Tim Moss.
And our first subject, there's so much to talk about.
There is.
We have the Michael Jackson.
Oh my God.
We have more of the Miami sex scandal with the Patriots dude, and now Mar-a-Lago, because the woman that used to own all of them used to party at Mar-a-Lago and has taken pictures with all the top Republicans.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting.
And she was doing the whole sex trafficking underage.
Well, she technically sold everything before they technically caught everything.
She seems to exceed in sales, I see.
Yeah. And she moved on to more of influencing, getting top Chinese execs to meet with Trump for money at Mar-a-Lago. So, but this is the third type of sex thing that Trump has been involved in with the Epsteins.
It just amazes me that he continues to lie. We catch him in lies, and everybody's like, "So, what's going on next?
Yeah.
How about college tuitions? You know, so
take that away along with the Medicare and the Medicaid.
All the attention, like that's bizarre
I need a new yacht.
to me.
Yeah, it's just sex scandal after sex scandal with him. But I still, to this
don't
day,
want
not
to,
sure if he's into the 14-year-old girls, which is
Who,
what most
Trump?
Trump. I think that he does like them a little bit 18-year-oldies.
Oh God, I mean he's
And
always.
he comments on his daughter. Are we kidding?
Right, but he waited until she was 18.
Get the fuck out of here. That's disgusting. Number one. Number two, it's fucking disgusting. How about that?
There was a time where she was sitting on his lap at age 14, and he was like holding her like he was holding a girlfriend. But, you know, a lot of men do that with their daughters.
Let me tell you something. I'll kill my fucking husband.
Speaking of Michael Jackson.
Speaking of Michael Jackson.
Okay, so I had to be honest. I didn't watch any of the. It was like a documentary or something.
There was it was in 2 parts, and then Oprah did an hour after that, which was it was really hard to watch. It
That's
was
why
rough.
I haven't watched it.
And I was literally cringing several times. It was and everybody's like, oh well, they lied when they were kids and this, and they lied before. It all is explained in there. The whole thing. And
now, from a viewer's point of view, did you find it to be truthful, or was
I found it very credible.
Because I've heard both sides. I haven't seen it, so I don't really have an opinion on it, but I've heard both sides.
Oh, okay, because I think most of the people that don't believe it didn't see it.
Right. Or they're making money from the Michael Jackson legacy. Like maybe somebody who has no money involved with the Michael Jackson legacy. Maybe. But then there was this dancer the other day who was on, and he was like, yeah, I was there, and he never did that to me. And the guy was like, yeah, you were 15. You were already aged out.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was like, nuh-uh.
Yeah, no, he liked him. He liked him like 8, 7 to 11.
Yeah, and just 2 days ago, they released a video of Michael Jackson shopping with that little boy in the documentary for jewelry.
Yeah, that was really creepy. He talked about that, the jewelry. Oh my God, that was one of the cringe moments.
Okay, so I missed that. What happened?
I mean, it's teaching kids how to be a prostitute, basically.
Well,
that's how you teach children how to start accepting
the thing is that they were groomed, they were manipulated. It was all very calculated and very much so. And one thing that I've joked a couple things about this, even though it's very twisted and bizarre. But one of the things that I've said was
not here on this show.
was if you think about it, the guy had an entire amusement park in his backyard with free candy and free popcorn to lure all the children in.
Christ, he only needed a sign that said...
Most people can only afford a piece of candy to try to lure them into the back of a van.
Right.
And he's got an entire...
like the ice cream truck guy or something.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. And I remember, because I lived through that. You know, I was in my 20s and shit during that whole time.
I remember that.
And I was like, this man is creepy. This man is creepy. And I don't understand why everyone just kept trying to convince me and the rest of society that he wasn't creepy.
Who are the fucking parents, though? This is what I'm saying. Who
are
the
This
parents?
is the thing that was, he goes after the parents, too.
Oh, constantly.
You seduce the parents as well.
And the parents were convinced that he was just a big child because he would be like, oh, yeah. And they basically adopted him like one of their own children. And he would call them and call them and call them and oh, how are you?
And he'll send, pay the rent.
Yeah, and oh my God, people are saying the most horrible things about me. I don't know why they say. And he'll cry and they'll, oh Michael, it's okay, I know you, and all of and of course at first there's nothing, but after like the parents would be in the next room, well then they'd go somewhere else and the parents would be down at the end of the hall. and then they go somewhere else, and they don't have anything on this floor. You have to be on the 3rd floor while we're on the 8th.
Right.
And like he just kept getting the parents further and further away.
It reminds me of when you go on a business trip with your boss and he's like, "Oh, they didn't have a separate bed.
Yeah, right.
Rooms. We had to get this one room with a double bed. Oh, they just didn't have any other rooms in the entire fucking complex." Yeah. I mean, it's the same type of stuff that goes on. They just try, they do one.
Yeah, but it's very calculated, and also they were very symptom. They were very
parents.
No, think
right,
about
exactly.
how he did to society. Like I just said, he had society.
Yeah.
Saying, "Oh, it's perfectly okay to have a man with an amusement park in his backyard, having a ton of children over all the time, and sleeping in a bed with them. It's perfectly okay." The entire society was brainwashed into this man's way of thinking.
Well, see, also
That's
another
how
thing
the
that they touch on was he was iconic. He
Yes.
was in a class all by himself.
He created the class.
Absolutely,
basically.
absolutely.
I mean,
Along with
Frank
there,
Sinatra
but then
beforehand, but
there
not
were
as much.
there were superstars
didn't have a
unlike
music park.
Right.
unlike there are today.
And he stopped when they started ganging up on him, all the teeny boppers. He was like, "Okay, enough."
Yeah.
I forgot what I was talking about.
I
There's so
didn't
much to
watch
talk
it.
about.
I know. I forgot. It
No,
slipped my mind.
all of us were just brainwashed by this guy.
Oh, that's what it was. Then you had mega superstars that were in this class. Madonna, Michael Jackson,
Yes.
all of them that were untouchable.
Okay.
And he would pick this one boy who was talented to say, "Oh, I love you. Come here." And the little boy is like, "Oh my God, Michael Jackson,
Yeah.
Michael
Who was that,
Jackson."
Macaulay Culkin? Or
No,
whatever his name was?
Macaulay, in my opinion, that was also very calculated because Macaulay Culkin and Corey
Feldman.
Feldman both claimed that he did not.
Okay.
He did not molest them, or any sexual contact in any way. But they were both very public.
Okay.
So my personal opinion was that was very smart of him to bring them in and say, look, I never touched them.
Also,
Yeah.
it's much easier to seduce someone who is poor.
Right.
That's why the priest went after all the poor kids in the neighborhood. It's very rare that the priest
And
went
the
after
parent-
a rich kid, unless the rich kid didn't have a parent that was looking after him and was gone all the
But the
time.
parents, I think, I don't remember if I think they were from broken homes, both of them.
Yeah.
And then the mother was bringing the kid
Yeah.
to Michael
Man,
Jackson to help with
Let me
his
tell you
career.
something. I couldn't be outside after the lights came out. There's no way my parents were gonna let me go to fucking
Right,
Michael Jackson's
exactly,
house.
exactly.
Like, where are
But
these
there's
parents?
there's a pile of
Evidence?
information.
Okay.
Right.
Again, like this was a world, he brought them into his world, which was completely new and just, oh my God, money is unlimited. He's doing these things for us. He's
Very
paying for
seductive.
stuff. And
I wonder if he had like one special, like, person. Do you know what I mean?
I think
or was
what he
it
would
just
do would
everybody?
be,
Aged out.
in a way, he would have one for a little while and then
they aged out,
move
yeah.
on and get another one and get
See,
another
and this
one.
is the other thing
It
that
is.
we don't take into this consideration, is that
But these are all, of course, my
this was
personal
during,
opinions.
when Oprah started to have her show, she was like one of the first ones to actually start talking about sex abuse. And everybody was shocked. It was a taboo subject.
Yes.
She was like one of the first ones to start to bring it to the awareness that little kids are sexually molested almost all the time by people they
Right.
know, by
Yes.
family members. And this was taboo, and our society was completely and totally shocked by it. And it took a good 15 years before society
that's-
went, you know what? The baseball coach that is with my son right now? And it wasn't until the Catholic Church scandal, until people went, wait a real fucking minute. Okay, now I'm really serious about people sleeping with my little kid.
Right.
But until then, we were stupid and oblivious to it all. 'Cause
I don't know if we
didn't
were
think it-
stupid and oblivious. I think
Well, we
that
didn't talk about it.
society
We
was
didn't know
very
about it.
different. Like things like divorce was not an option for many people, like in our parents' generation.
Right.
And oftentimes, to get through something, they suppress it. They don't talk about it. You know, so that's understandable to a degree. Not that it's right, but I can see how.
Well, Oprah had, like you said, she's been a pioneer for this child molestation because she was a victim of it. And in her program, she did an hour-long program immediately following the second part, the conclusion of it. and it was everybody in her audience had been victims of sexual abuse as a child, and basically they're because everybody's like, well, why didn't you say anything earlier if it's true? Well, a symptom of a lot of children that are abused is they kind of lock it away, and it cracks open in their mind later in life. And both of these, it cracked open after they each had a son. Each one had a son, and one of them started having nightmares of Michael Jackson with his son.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yikes.
when the whole psychology.
Yeah. So
stuff
it all
starts
just
to-
and that's when he was like, oh my God, what he did to me was so wrong. And it never, because they were convinced that he loved them and they loved him.
Yeah.
And the jewelry thing, he actually took this kid jewelry shopping and got him basically a wedding ring or and they had like this private little exchange of vows that they would be together forever, like really fucked up.
I mean, that's how the real predators go after kids, is that they create an entire love affair with these children, and these children don't know anything. And
he also was telling them, you cannot tell anybody about this because they'll put me in jail and they'll put you in jail. They will end my life and it'll end your life. And so they all just never said it.
So I did
anything.
hear somebody talking about this, and they said that it was a very one-sided documentary, didn't allow both sides of the story. Was that true?
Yeah, in certain, yes,
Okay.
yes, I would say that. None of the family would agree to go on.
right. And what would the other side be? I didn't see anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he was always good. He was always nice. He never did
always
anything
nice to me.
Yeah.
Right.
And he also basically kept the money coming. Because
Crazy.
it really is. I mean, just that it was just blown wide open and in such a manner that it was really hard to watch. Really hard to watch.
Yeah, see, I don't know if I could watch it.
No, I didn't watch that, and I didn't watch the R. Kelly.
I didn't watch
knew
R.
from the
Kelly.
I didn't see R. Kelly
when I first
either.
heard R. Kelly peeing on girls way back, I believed it. I was like, yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Well,
I
it was
believe
on
that men
video,
are
wasn't it?
fucking nuts, and whatever can come out, somebody did it. Somebody
Right.
probably did
Well,
it.
what is it with these brilliant artists that are fucked up people?
Yeah.
They make the best art.
Yeah, I guess.
Geniuses.
You
Like
know,
so
it
many
comes from
writers are
somewhere.
alcoholic.
Comedians suffer from depression.
Yeah, that's
From making people laugh all the time.
Comedians are the worst when it comes to that kind
yeah,
of stuff.
for sure.
And actors, forget about actors. They're all screwed up too. Yeah.
But I think he's like, ha ha ha.
What are you talking about?
Not me.
Oh,
Yeah, but you know what? I think you have to be accessible to play certain roles and stuff. I think you have to be vulnerable in that regard.
Right, and
you
then you
know?
explore. Like me,
Yeah.
I know that I'm always creating stuff in my head, like all the time. And I'll ask my sister, I was like, hey, do you create stories in your head? She's like, no. And I'm like, how do you not create stories in your head? Do you know what I mean? But I do it all the time. And things, like a song will just boom, and all of a sudden I have an entire storyline, you know?
You're creative.
Right,
yeah.
but other people don't. And I can like even start crying over the storyline that I created.
Right,
Because I can like
I know what
immediately
you
go
mean.
into the character.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's weird, and I'm amazed that other people can't do it.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think as we become adults, like we're taught not to be as creative, like to stop
Absolutely.
daydreaming, like where
And work, make money.
Yeah, but
And, yeah.
if you daydream, like think about how much more fun life would be.
Oh, it is.
Well,
I
that's
agree.
why I daydream.
Yeah,
I was
same
like,
here.
this is a great little talent. Let me sit in the corner and just daydream while chaos is going on over here. You know?
North Korea.
Speaking of North Korea, or South Korea, I guess the
Okay, the
Korean guy.
K-pop.
Now, who is K-pop?
Okay, so apparently
I'm not
K-pop is a
really-
genre. And there's several
Oh,
groups,
okay.
and it's like a dance genre.
It's like
And it's
freaking
Korean?
boy
Korean,
groups.
yeah, and a
It
lot of boy
sounds like-
groups.
I can't stand it.
From
Oh,
what I see,
okay.
a lot of them are very androgynous.
Uh-huh.
You know,
I
just
don't
and they
like
all
it.
kind of look. They have the exact kind of hair and makeup and clothes, and I'm like,
And
you
but
could
they're
just
boy
replace
bands.
one with another and not know it.
They're like boy bands, and like
Yeah.
there's
and the,
girl
and
bands
the,
too.
And the bubblegum pop. And,
Yeah.
Yeah,
uh-huh.
it's always like.
Yeah.
It's so stupid. I think.
It's really great for for 12-year-olds.
Well, yeah, for
and
children,
little
I
kids.
think it would be
Yeah,
good.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Except for when they're dressed like horse gyrating on the floor.
Oh my God.
But yeah.
or they turn into Michael Jackson.
Yeah, because a lot
Then it's not so good for your child.
You know what? If you look at some of the pictures from them, they might be getting some of their style from the late Michael Jackson looks. Because it has that like weird small little nose and the
Okay, so
and
has
the
people's
weird hair straight stuff. Yeah.
Speaking of people's looks like changing, I was looking at what's the baseball player?
Jose Canseco
No,
or
no,
that
no,
other
no,
dude.
no, Danny Sosa. Is that
Sosa
his?
who changed his color?
Yeah.
Dan, who?
He was
Sosa
like-
from
he
the
was
Chicago
dark-
Cubs?
I thought it was New York.
I thought,
Yankees.
I don't know. Whatever.
okay.
I don't pay attention to sports. Anyway,
wears tight
he's Dominican. I know that much. He's
Yeah,
freaking
I
Dominican.
think Soto. Yeah, he was
No, Sosa.
from or Sosa. Sosa.
Yeah, he was
Yeah, he was
gorgeous.
from
Like, he
Chicago.
had like
Yeah.
beautiful
Yeah.
chocolate skin
That
and
dark
then like
skin, and
now
he changed his.
He's like
Yeah.
white.
Yeah.
Like
Stop it.
I swear.
I haven't seen that. Oh my
It was.
God.
It's like old little Kim and new little Kim.
But you
Oh
know
my
what?
God.
If you're a baseball player, you're out in the sun a lot.
Get the fuck
Okay.
out of here.
So he
Jesus
didn't
Christ.
actually turn white until he stopped being a baseball player. I think he retired, right? And then he went like
And
white.
then all
white.
his melanin was like, see you
Right.
later.
Yeah.
So I
We
think
need
like,
a good credit score.
like,
What the fuck?
maybe he was off the field, and because I used to date a Dominican, and he did
Okay.
lighten up a little bit when he wasn't out in the sun all the time. But when he came back
Well,
from the
this
Dominican
is
Republic,
my
he was
winter
darker.
color, I guess you would say.
So maybe his natural color was a real light
Bro,
white,
No.
and he was just playing on the baseball fields all his life.
He went like from my husband's complexion to my complexion.
Yeah, the
That's
sun
not
is-
like a before and
the
after
sun is
that.
really strong if you don't use sunscreen.
Let me tell you though, in Jamaica, like skin bleaching is like a really big
Yeah.
thing. When when I was working at Hedonism, there was this one lady that used to sell like jewelry. She would make jewelry on the beach and walk around and sell it. One year I came back, she's dressed like a fucking beekeeper. I was like, what? She was like, hi, Miss Lola. And I was like, who is this beekeeper on the freaking thing? She had bleached her skin. She couldn't be in the sun.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so she bleached.
So she chose to bleach the skin.
Yeah, and she was
Why?
so beautiful. I don't know. And like, you can't even enjoy your own island. It's gorgeous. You can't even be in the sun. I just thought it was such a shame. But they do it. I know they do it in the Philippines as well.
Well, you know what?
It's a
This
big
is
thing.
kind of sort of going to bring me into a subject that could be controversial. And it's going to lead into what I'm going to call trans misogyny. But it starts with why people bleach their skin,
if you
right?
could only see what my brain is on a train.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Okay,
Synapse.
so part of the reason why dark-skinned people lighten their skin is because there's a hierarchy, even in the black community, of trying to become a
lighter
white
skin.
person, right? And it all comes from slavery and all that kind of stuff, to where the lighter you are, the
more
higher
accepted you
class you
are.
might be, the more accepted you are and such. And so this same idea, this same philosophy, I think, is what I am starting to call going
Get the
into.
fuck out of here.
Right.
That's what
well,
I
what
said.
I kind of think is what I'm starting to see. Is trans misogyny. I've started doing a whole lot of thinking
Trans
of
misogyny? Like transsexual?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm starting to really look at how women present themselves, or especially with women's sex. We've talked about this. I said, you know, if women have sex without any type of male input, like if we were to try to have sex with just ourselves without the male input of what sex should be.
Did that this
You mean-
morning.
Like I said, like I said last show, I said, growing up, I never fantasized about giving a blowjob because I don't have orgasm through my,
Right.
right?
So you don't
So
get
I
sexual pleasure
right,
from
I don't
it.
get sexual pleasure from that,
I do.
except for
Just for all
you
those
know,
male viewers out there.
Right, and so
Dear God, please let him put it in my butt.
I do that too.
I've been good this year. I've been good. I was at the Stonewall. I sang on the piano.
Yeah.
Please.
right. But as females, all of us are taught on how to do a good blowjob. I mean, Cosmo is full of article after article of how to do a good blowjob, right?
Right,
I want to
right,
know who
exactly.
the bitches are
And
that
so
work at Cosmo. That's
right,
who I
and I'm
want.
starting
probably
to think
men.
about how do we have sex if we don't want, if we're trying to take some of the male influence out of it, or the patriarchal influence
Shit,
Right.
out of it.
we would have a vibrator. We'd have a vibrator. We don't need
Okay.
Feathers,
we might
feathers.
have
like-
sex toys because I came up with one about that after the misogyny thing.
Okay, so
And my
trans
sex toys.
I started
misogyny,
watching RuPaul Drag Race, and
which
and the
are
Pose.
men
right,
who dress
and
as
Pose.
women.
Shout out to you.
And I,
Oh yes.
the original transgenders and everything, they wanted to try to pass as females.
Right.
And
Because
from
in the
look of
community
it,
you've got passable
right,
and
it
non-passable.
looked like it all
But
stemmed from
drag
like the
shows just drag.
1950s, where you had that ultra feminine female, the corseted,
with the hair and the
yes,
dress,
and the perfect
skirt
hair,
out.
and everything
Yeah.
had to be perfect,
With
and
the-
makeup, and everything had
with
to be
the
perfect.
apron
Stepford
and
wife.
and a tray of cookies
Right?
for her husband
and
to
that
get after
is
work.
the
Yeah.
patriarchal representation of the perfect female.
Mhm.
And so now I'm
The Stepford
looking at
wife.
right. I'm looking at the transgender community, and I'm looking at how much that community has been influenced by the patriarchal requirement of how perfect a female needs to be.
Mhm.
And I'm thinking,
I got an
but I have a
interesting-
new thing.
Go ahead. I got one
met
for you.
some new people, some new transgenders, and they're starting to come up with this different type of transgender where it's like a more of a monster style transgender or more of a masculine transgender.
Mm-hmm.
And they're getting away from the ultra feminine dazzle
Right.
dazzle.
Uh-huh.
And so I'm calling that trans misogyny. Because sometimes when I look at these ultra female trans people, I'm like, you're perpetuating what I'm supposed to be trying to live up to as well.
Uh-huh.
And I'm not putting those
Yeah,
high
some
heels
of them
on
look
and the
better
corsets
than
Right.
on anymore.
us.
Right.
I'm not putting on all that thick ass makeup and the wigs
Right.
and stuff. It's just too much.
Uh-huh.
So when are we going to get away from how perfect a female needs to be,
Uh-huh.
even in the trans
We're
community?
Not. I don't think we are.
But the thing is, in a way, it's men who have always dreamed about being that perfect
And they
woman
got their influence
to attract
from
men, to attract other men.
Mm-hmm.
But you've got to keep in mind that these are still people with a penis.
Right.
And they are driven by the penis, and they know how to treat the men who are driven by their penises, because all men are driven by their penises.
But then you get into that whole thing of, but if you're a trans man, a lot of them are attracted to gay men, and a lot of gay men are attracted to the trans. So why being the ultra female still plays into it? It's still,
about
to
their
me, they're still thinking about patriarchy and bringing
Right,
patriarchy
right.
into the trans world.
And I also just want to correct, I didn't mean that as far as trans, because trans a lot of times, after, like post-op, are female. They have the female body,
Right.
but they know what drives the man. And in my observation, most trans, well, I can't say most, because there is
Yeah.
no most.
There's
but
a
I
lot
have
of
seen,
change now
but I
going
have
on.
seen a lot of trans women who will only want straight men.
Straight men.
That's the goal. That's the ultimate goal, is to get a straight man. But then I've also had,
You can have them.
but I've
right.
also
You can have
seen
'em.
I've also seen
Take
a
'em.
trans man and a trans woman married that got together.
The
And
book-
I've had
Okay.
a trans man or a trans woman who was a lesbian who likes women.
Right.
So I've seen like all
Yeah.
variations.
Yeah, there's
so
tons of variations.
the sexuality
Yeah.
doesn't have that much to do with it, I
the
think.
outside, yeah.
But if a man transitions to a female, I think normally
He'll be attracting.
is
she'll be
trying to
attracting
the ultimate
the
goal is to
heterosexual
track.
male.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Is I would say in most cases or in many
Yeah.
cases, yeah.
I would really like to see the trans community try to just wear like regular jeans and a t-shirt and sneakers
Well,
and
and
stuff.
a lot
I
of them
do
too.
know- I do know
yeah,
a lot
of
that
them
do.
too. Not
Yeah.
everybody's a drag queen. Like
Right.
being a drag queen and being trans is not synonymous.
Right.
So
right.
you know, drag is something completely different. Drag is an art. It's an art form. It's to
Yeah,
show-
I've seen.
yeah.
I've run
right.
into trans friends of mine that are just going to the store, with the hair up in a clip and no makeup and, and jeans and
Yeah.
that's their life. That's who they are.
It's called East Village.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it is an art form as well, but it would be kind of nice not to see the ultra feminine anymore. Because I do
I see
feel
what-
like
exactly
it's,
what
No,
you
I,
mean,
I
yeah.
understand.
almost on
I understand what you
misogyny to
mean.
me.
But
now.
also, if you think about it, you would have to have an ideal in mind, an ideal
Yeah.
place that you want to go,
Yeah.
and to make the decision to actually remove your genitals.
Yeah.
No, I'm just talking about
It
the
would,
outward
it
of what they present
right,
to the world.
but that would require such a commitment and your step towards your ideal, who you want to be, ideally.
The people that I know who
And most
who've
of them, I think-
transitioned have always said to me that the inside didn't match the outward.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
And once they started doing hormones and things of that nature, you know, you start to get facial hair and you start to feel more masculine. You start, when your outside starts to match your inside, I imagine it's more harmonious. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, as a female,
Absolutely.
you enjoy being a female, so you can look at yourself and be like, oh, I feel pretty today.
Yeah.
Imagine it's somebody who can't actually look at themselves and find the beauty in who they are. It's a complete mind fuck.
Yeah,
you know?
because it's like, well, I feel this way, but what's looking at me in the mirror is not even close to what I'm feeling.
Let me tell you, I look at myself half the time. I'm like, what the fuck? Yeah, so, you know, I get it.
It's like a double whammy, though, because especially if you're transitioning to a female, because if you're already unhappy with not looking like a woman, and then you try to look like a woman, and you're still going to be unhappy because you're never going to be beautiful enough as a woman.
Oh, honey, have you seen Nikki Exotica?
It's impossible to be beautiful enough as a female, though. You're always being judged about being beautiful, though.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah, Nikki Exotica is
she's
fierce.
gorgeous.
Yeah.
And if a man can look that good, we have zero excuses to look like garbage. So get it together, girls. That's all I gotta say. No, because some of them are gorgeous.
Well, I'm just saying it's so freaking difficult to be that gorgeous.
Yeah.
And even when you're that gorgeous, you're still going to get insults. It's just impossible.
Yeah, because drag queens are vicious.
The what?
The drag queens are vicious.
Oh God,
everyone's vicious towards females.
And the thing, but even within the trans community, like you were saying, in the black community, the skin tone.
Yeah, you're
within
within
the trans community, from what I understand, there's a class system there too. Like you've got post-op and like people who are on hormones versus people who are not on hormones, and then you've got people who are pre-op and then people who are post-op. So, and the people who are post-op a lot of times think they're much more grand than the others, and I mean there's like this whole infighting, and I'm just like, would you just stop fighting? We're all one.
To call everybody them. Nobody gets pissed off.
You know what?
That's what I can't keep track of it all.
The he, the she, and the them.
I blame it all on patriarchy.
Everybody's
I
done
truly
now.
believe it all comes from patriarchy, and the whole idea
Yeah,
we all
right,
have to
it
be
is.
perfect in
Yeah.
order to please some male gaze.
But that is one way of fighting it. Is because again, the men, if you're born with a penis, right out the gate, you're taught, you know, you got to be man, you got to be tough, you got to be strong, you got to be this, you got to be this, you got to like pussy, you got to like play baseball, you got to do this, and to break that and go feminine, trust me, is a real.
Not easy.
It's a mind fuck.
Easy. Yeah,
you've got to. It has to really be a part of you, and again, the same with.
I don't think people just happen upon it either.
Absolutely not.
You know, like I've grown up with people that we knew that he was not going to stay a he. Like we just knew. Like there's certain people you just innately know, and that's just them. Take some other people just to experience life to see what sticks with them. You know, like I don't know. I've seen so many people. In their progression of sexuality and how they decide to live, it's kind of fascinating. You know, like now I can look at it and I have an appreciation for it versus like not knowing like a lifestyle or a community and being like, oh my God, what is it? What are you doing? You know, so.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
thinking the younger generation might grow up to just be beautiful.
Them. They'll just be them.
well, like a beautiful version of being a female, of them being a female,
absolutely.
as opposed
Being
to
authentic.
trying to be, you know, that 1950s perfectness.
That I think is the whole key, is being authentic and true to yourself rather than what society wants you to be or what they expect you to be.
Yeah, that's where I hope
it's kind of breaking, but it seems like that's what the gay community, the drag community, this trans community, everybody's trying to break that cycle.